Hello everybody, I'm Leora Sims. Welcome to my channel and welcome to episode number 3 of the 3rd season of my Sims 4 Law and Order SVU series. If you missed any of the previous episodes, please go back and watch them, and please pay attention to the information provided in the description of the video, especially if you or someone you know is in need of help, or you think that someone you know may be in need of help. That's why the information is there. Before I get back into gameplay and storytelling today, I'm going to be talking about a specific form of verbal abuse. There are at least a few types of verbal abuse. And I want to say that if it were not for this specific form of verbal abuse, which I went through myself, I don't think I would have stayed with my ex as long as I did. When I was in college, I took a course called Philosophy of Psychiatry. And in that course, because it's a philosophy course, I was told that there were no wrong answers. And I was taught, in that class at least, to question reality. I didn't like philosophy of psychiatry because I like knowing what my reality is. And my teacher would say things to me like, how do you know that you're sitting in that chair that you're sitting in right now? Maybe you're just dreaming it. How do you really know that you're sitting in that chair and talking to me and having this discussion with me? And questions like that made me very uncomfortable. I'm not saying that she was abusive. She was teaching a philosophy course. And in philosophy you question everything. But it made me feel very uncomfortable. And I did very well in that course, although I'm not that proud of that, because there were no wrong answers in that course. But I like to know, and most people like to know, I believe, what their reality is. Right now I'm sitting here and I'm recording a video. And later I'm going to upload that video. And I know that that is the reality. I can even go to my YouTube channel and replay my video and hear my words. That is my reality. But anybody in philosophy can come along and tell me that maybe it's not. Well, abusers do that as well. A few months ago, I was talking about my experience with my ex to a friend of mine, and this friend heard what my ex did in certain situations and said to me he was gaslighting you. My response was, what is gaslighting? I knew what he was doing. I figured it out. But I wasn't aware until months ago that there was actually a term for this. And I wish that it was a simpler term. Because when I think of gaslighting, I think of a fire being started with gas. That's what I think of. But it's a form of, in this context, it's a form of verbal abuse, where the abuser makes you question your sense of reality. And this was done to me over and over and over again. And it's very empowering, I think, for the abuser. Because the abuser can get control of your sense of reality, make you question your reality. And then you start to question whether you are being abused or you are being mistreated. Or if it's all you, if there's something wrong with you, if you have an issue that needs to be worked on because you're not seeing reality clearly. And you wonder if you're being abused at all. And then you get very frightened because you're thinking, if it's me, then I have a real problem. I think that I'm being mistreated, but my abuser is so convincing that maybe he or she is right. Maybe I'm the one with the problem. And I think that gaslighting is very empowering to the abuser, because as long as you think that you're not being abused, you are not going to step out of it, and you are not going to reach out for help. And in my case, I felt very ashamed. Very, very ashamed and very frightened. I do have a physical disability, which I've talked about on this channel. And I started to wonder, maybe I have something else wrong with me too. And so now I have another problem that I have to face every day. And how do I get help for this? And what exactly is going on? Gaslighting caused me a lot of confusion, which is what it is supposed to do, which is what the abuser's intent is. In the case of my ex, I think he just wanted I don't think he knew that he was abusive. I think he just wanted to continue his behavior and he wanted to excuse himself. And it was easy to gaslight me. It was easy for him to make me question my reality, because then I wouldn't say to him, you know what, this is not working. I don't deserve this. And you need to get out. Gaslighting is dangerous because it makes you question your reality. One of my ex's favorite phrases was, "It's all in your head." If I would confront him on something, he would say, "It's all in your head." Or, "It didn't happen exactly like that." And then I would say, well, he's acknowledging some of it. He's saying some of this argument didn't happen the way I see it. So that means he's acknowledging some fault, but he's not taking full responsibility. So maybe it's me. And I spent a lot of my relationship, as I've said in different videos, in confusion. And gaslighting is a thing that kept me confused. And I honestly believe that if it wasn't for this tactic, I would have left sooner. And people, and I have said this a few times, even though I try not to be repetitive, especially in this series, people have asked me why I stayed so long. And they've told me that I stayed too long. And that's okay. I don't mind their opinion. But they weren't in my shoes. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know how manipulated I felt. Gaslighting to me is a form of manipulation. To do something to someone or to say something to someone that is hurtful, and then to tell them that it's all in their head or that they imagined it, is very cruel. And it makes a person who is being abused question their reality, their very being at times. Who they are as, not just in the relationship, but who they are as a person. And I can get into that in another video, because there were plenty of things that my ex did that would be considered gaslighting, as well as maybe some other things. I'm going to say this before I get back into gameplay. It's normal to argue with a partner. It can be healthy to argue with a partner, but you need to find common ground and have compromise and respect in the argument. Just because you had an argument with someone does not mean that they abused you. But not everything is just an argument. Sometimes you can be the victim of verbal abuse and not realize it for a long time. And verbal abuse can turn physical. And verbal abuse in itself and gaslighting in itself can be very, very damaging. I will be right back with gameplay. Olivia Benson and Ed Tucker are at the Eat and Bowl for a casual date. And Ed is unfortunately feeling insecure. There's his moodlets. He's going to complain about the freezing temperatures outside. He's going to discuss interests. He's going to share his insecurities, and then we'll see where we are. Is there anyone around here that we know of? There is Melinda Warner's husband. If you like the Eaton Bowl, it is on the Sims 4 gallery. And I just put it back on the gallery because I added some more lighting. He's going to share his insecurities again, and he's going to give the cold shoulder, and he's going to argue about career. Sometimes I would make something up for storyline purposes, but arguing about career is very fitting. It's really something that I feel that Ed would do. And there is Melinda Warner. But she's not close enough for anyone to say hello to her. The Eat and Bowl is categorized as a restaurant, but if you didn't want the restaurant experience at this very casual place, there are some counters, and your Sims can make their own popcorn if they get hungry, and there's a bar here, so you don't have to use this lot as a restaurant. And of course, there is a bowling alley upstairs. Looks like Melinda Warner is just getting in from work because she is in the uniform that I gave her. I don't know, should Ed say anything to her? I think he should. so he's just going to give a tearful introduction. But he already knows her. Not well, though. So we'll say for storyline purposes that he's just saying hello. It's not an introduction at all. Melinda is coming closer. Well, that's embarrassing. Not only did Ed just insult Olivia, and insult her publicly, but insulted her in front of people that she knows, which is can be very humiliating. My policy is to never knowingly embarrass anyone, especially publicly. I think one of the worst things you can do to somebody that you love is embarrass them publicly. I don't believe that it should be done. Obviously, people make mistakes, but you want to try to avoid that. You don't want to make somebody that you love uncomfortable. You don't even want to make a stranger uncomfortable. I have been insulted by people in the past, and I have literally been asked if I wanted a public or a private apology, and I have gone for the private apology because I wanted the person who insulted me to understand why I was so upset and what they did wrong. I didn't want them to just say that they were sorry. And I'll talk about this in another video. But I didn't want them to just say that they were sorry. I wanted them to know why they should be sorry for what they did, so that they wouldn't do it again, or possibly wouldn't do it again. But I couldn't bring myself to embarrass them by having them publicly apologize to me. I felt that that would make me no better than they were. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I just wanted the person to acknowledge that they hurt me. And that is a story worth telling in another episode. Okay, so Olivia is not happy. I'm going to do one more interaction. Let's have him just insult her. And let's have him share his insecurities again. us off. I'm going to end this episode here, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Again, please look at the description. If you or someone you know is in need of help, there's some information there. Be happy, healthy, and stay safe.